Irritable Dad Syndrome was videotaped before a live studio audience.
Earlier, the light was on in the background. I went and I turned that off. That's gonna
that does make it.
Oh, yeah, it makes for a much better podcast.
does.
Yep.
I thought this show sucked, but you did that.
Oh, you're welcome.
And just let me say, boy, howdy. Darren,
40.
this is episode 126.
Right?
It's time to up the production value and give these people what they want.
What is the deal with my life?
Are you imitating me?
No! This is what I sound like when I cry!
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, part of this nutritious breakfast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Darren.
Hey, I'm Darren.
I am Mike.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome, episode 126.
Breh. Let me tell you about this episode.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, longtime listeners know that Darren's a fan of something, and I'm a fan of something.
Like major fan.
Major, like ridiculous levels.
Stupid
of
level of fandom.
And these two things are crashing together. I don't want to give too much away.
Worlds collide.
But one is a dude with a beard that talks to people, and the other are four dudes
In a
band who talk to people
They're coming together, and Mike and I are so excited.
on St. Patrick's Day.
Yes. Also, on this show tonight, in my opinion, one of the greatest TV shows of all time that went off the air. It wasn't canceled. It went off the air. It's coming back. I could not possibly be more excited, and neither could my kids.
Speaking of great shows, a great show has just started. The Last of Us finally premiered on HBO. We're talking about it.
Okay,
I've
heard great things.
Everybody else on the planet's talking about it, except for Steve in Orlando. But everybody else is talking about it.
You and I, we went to see Louis C.K., and
Yes.
we made a new friend in Louisville.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that tonight. We reached out to our fans and we asked, what bands would you like for Mike and I to talk about? And our fans reacted, and we're going to talk about some bands tonight. So
they had some right answers and they had some wrong
exactly,
answers.
and
And we're
it's,
going to go through them.
it's all for the fans. So welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. I'm excited about this show in particular.
What? Why is that?
Because
Mike?
I had more than one thing on the rundown.
Yeah.
And
Which is rare.
So we talk about this a lot, where some shows we walk in here and I ain't got nothing,
Right.
and other shows I've got a few things. And we talk about how good the shows can be when I have nothing and when you have nothing. However, during those shows,
I never have nothing.
that's right. I'm
Okay,
trying to even the playing field. here.
You know what? I'll make you feel better. God, sometimes I have nothing,
Yes.
Mike. I
So-
know exactly what you mean.
So sometimes doing those shows feels like going up the thing on the roller coaster, the hill, and I know the droppy bit is coming. The fun bit.
That's
is coming.
also a hill.
Yeah, but
You go up a hill and
right.
you go down a hill.
Right, you go, but
Don't you listen to Kate Bush?
Running up that road, be running up that hill.
you know there's track there to get you. I look at the rundown as track that it's going on.
Yeah.
If there ain't no rundown, there ain't no track. And at some point in the show, I don't know if you know this, we're co-hosts.
Yes.
Meaning we're both partners in this show.
Yes.
At some point, you're going to look up and say, Mike? And I'm going to have to speak words out into the world that are going to be immortalized on this damn thing forever.
Yeah.
My kids, 50 years from now, are going to look back and say, well, what did Dad have to say
On
January
January
18th, 2023?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going off about how he doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, we
Again.
already knew that.
Yeah.
So I get a little verklempt
Okay.
when we have those situations. So I'm less verklempt. I'm more confident.
Okay.
We have futzed around with the technical bits of the show because we're
Yes.
not popular enough or rich enough to afford an engineer.
No.
Thanks, listeners. And we have to do it ourselves. And during that time, the coffee that I'm drinking from my farewell Yellow Brick Road coffee mug now
you've
has
got-
coursed through my veins and has now got me all a flitter. And I'm ready to roll. Game on.
And that's all the time we have tonight. Thank you for listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome. Go to our website, irritabledadsyndrome.com. You can look at previous episodes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Hey, What happened?
What we mentioned at the very top of the show is something that I've mentioned many times on this podcast is I am a huge fan of David Letterman.
There you go. That's solid entertainment.
Mike is a huge fan of the band U2. I am also a fan of U2.
And I'm also a fan of David Letterman.
Exactly, yeah. But your ability to U2 is greater than mine, just as my ability to Letterman is greater than yours.
That's a very interesting way to put it.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have posters of David Letterman on my wall.
I do.
But I have posters of a Boner and the Boys. So let me rephrase that. Bono and the Boys. Yeah.
So Mike and I are out of our mind excited because David Letterman is going to interview Bono and The Edge on St. Patrick's Day.
On St. Patrick's Day?
In Dublin. Well, he's already interviewed him.
I know, but but
it's going to air on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, the only thing that could make it more Irish is if they're eating Lucky Charms while they're doing it, you know?
They're drinking an O'Doul's. Is that Irish?
It is.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I've thought about that would be fun, possibly if we could make it happen. I don't know. Maybe we could stream us watching the show with fans.
Oh my God. That's a great idea.
And maybe I could dress up like a leprechaun. I'm willing to do that.
Please don't.
The leprechaun costume is $60. Yeah. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
I've looked it up. I have to go with the extra large version, but I can wear it. It comes with the vest.
Okay.
The jacket.
The red
green sequin jacket. No, the beard is extra.
Okay.
The green top hat.
Okay.
And the pantaloons.
Okay.
And it recommends that you get a beard. That you get socks.
Yes.
That you get shoes with little curly things. And the little buckle that you can put on the hat, like the Keebler elf, the head Keebler elf, not the little elves don't get that buckle. The main guy, the main guy that looks like Bernie Sanders, that elf, he looks like Bernie Sanders. He does. He looks like Bernie Sanders. But the buckle, he gets the buckle on the top because he's magically delicious. No, that's different. But you know what I'm saying.
They're always after my Lucky Charms.
So maybe let us know in the comments or whatever. I mean, we got some time before St. Patrick's Day. If you'd be willing to watch the U2 Letterman interview with us live.
The live stream would be us. No, we wouldn't be able to show that.
No, we can't show that, but we could
show us
have
watching
the camera.
that.
We could show us watching that. And some weirdo out there may find that entertaining, especially if I'm dressed like a leprechaun.
Yeah.
And I don't know that those pantaloons are going to cover everything, so we may have to put a little MA on there. Mature audiences only. But I'll drink Lucky Charms. I'll make some green beer.
You know, one of the jokes in my comedy routine is people say Lucky Charms are magically delicious, and there's no magic involved.
There's not.
They're delicious because they're covered in 2 cups of sugar.
I mean, some of those marshmallows have multiple colors.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do that if they're not using magic.
Dye.
Excuse me?
Oh. But no, this is really awesome because now I'm surprised it's going to be on the Disney Max.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not Netflix.
Yeah.
Because David Letterman has the show My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, which is on Netflix, and I think it's in its 4th season. And he just had the Ukrainian president on there, which was amazing. So I'm really surprised that it's on Disney and not Netflix. But Disney, they're like, hey, everybody hold my beer because they're trying to get away from the we've got all the Disney princesses, and they own Marvel and they own Star Wars. Now they're trying to own like Rolling Stone magazine or something and be like the rock and roll.
If I find out that they've tried to buy U2, so U2 I think is owned by U2.
Well, there are 4 guys.
They've had like this deal with Apple for a long time.
People stopped being owned since slavery was abolished. Thank you, Abraham Lincoln.
There was a tragedy that happened in the world.
What was that?
In around 2004. These sons of bitches gave everyone a free album.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
I remember. Oh my God!
Those sons of bitches.
Never seen anybody so pissed.
It's
taking up my space.
I still, every once in a while, you'll see a post about you, now especially because Bono's doing his book tour, and some jackwad will be in the comments saying, I still haven't got that album off my iPhone. It's like, what in the hell
Yeah.
What? Why?
What
wow.
makes you think I want a free album? Like, okay. And they had to hire people.
Yeah.
Like, they hired people to answer the phones, to walk people through deleting it off their phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you and I almost weren't friends over this.
Well, you talked
because we knew each
you
other.
were close to talking to
We knew each other.
Yeah.
We'd met. And Cameron was invited to Andrew's birthday party at the museum. So we went there, and I had written on my Facebook page that day, wow, you don't realize how much people hate you until you try to give them a free album. And
Rub my feathers
you're
around.
Darren, I'd like to talk to you about something real quick. I'm like, it's a joke. And you were wearing your Joshua Tree shirt or something.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, that's a good bet.
But no, it's pretty awesome that Disney Plus is doing this because I don't know if you saw Get Back, the Beatles.
No, I need to. I've never,
Man, that was amazing. It was really, really amazing.
So there's a rumor out there started by you that I hate the Beatles. I don't hate the Beatles.
You flat out said that.
I'm just not, I don't get excited. I'm not a big, the Beatlemania didn't hit me.
Right.
I like them. I like the songs that I hear. If they played Bogarts, I'd probably go check them out.
Just run down their day of, get a ticket at the door.
I don't know if they could fill Bogarts, but whatever.
Yeah.
I go check them out.
That surprises me though, because
they're a band. They're a band. We talked about on our trip to see Louis Celsius Kelvin.
Yes,
we talked about bands that we should like.
Right,
and I told you that Coldplay was a band that I should like. I've just never been able to get into.
Yeah,
in theory, the Beatles should be something that I like.
Yeah,
like I love Led Zeppelin. I love the Rolling Stones. Beatles, I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
yeah. Hey Jude.
Yeah, don't make it bad.
Yeah.
Anywho, I'm excited that Disney Plus is getting this. I mean, they did the Get Back thing. They got the Elton John final concert. They did a Taylor Swift thing. They're really trying to own a chunk of rock and roll.
Now, do you think they're doing this because they want to capture the Irritable Dad Syndrome audience?
I think so. Yeah. Kevin Feige, I want to talk to you.
You can have our 5 listeners when you tear them from our cold dead hands.
On St. Patrick's Day, you and I will watch the special together.
Yeah.
And we will live stream it.
Yeah.
And that'll be an episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, join us. What day is St. Patrick's Day?
It's not like a day.
Is it a day? Okay. Yeah. It followed. It's the day before that other
day.
Yeah.
I think last year it was on a Wednesday.
This portion of our show is brought to you by the Best Western Hotel. Dude, their waffle maker makes the tastiest damn waffles you've ever had. The next time you're traveling and craving waffles, choose the Best Western Hotel. Now, back to the show.
So we got to talk about a new show.
Okay.
The Last of Us. All right, so everyone knows I'm the gamer of the group, so I've played this game. This was a PlayStation 3 game. We're now on PlayStation 5, so this thing goes way back. It was like 2004, 2006.
Okay, is that how long?
No, it came out later than that. It might have been 2011. I don't know when it came out.
It doesn't matter.
Back in the PlayStation 3 days.
Right.
So it was a intense game to play through. So me personally, I could only play maybe 30 to 45 minutes of it at a time because it was just brutal. So basically the story
That's a lot of camo grinding.
So it's some people will call it a zombie flick, and it kind of is, but it's a little different. And the very opening of the show, I'm not spoiling anything, it's in the first couple of minutes. There is a recreation of a show from the 60s where they're talking about things that could wipe out the human race.
Yeah.
And a guy talks about, he feels that, they're talking about viruses and all this stuff. It's kind of timely with the corona. And then this guy talks about, I think it's going to be fungus.
Yeah.
And goes through it. So that's what the deal is in The Last of Us. So it's a fungus it's the cordyceps. There's a few other types of fungus that do this. It's an actual thing now with insects.
Okay.
They get into ants. This fungus will get into ants, grasshoppers. It takes over their mind and controls them and then moves them around. The fungus takes over their body.
Okay.
So that happens now.
Okay.
And, the guest on the show, and I don't know where this goes into science fiction. At some point it does, says, well, why hasn't it made the jump to humans? And he says something about, well, the temperature's a bit off, but if something happens, say the earth gets warmer than it should, then it could spark a mutation and this thing could move to humans. a big title card might as well have come out with a guy pointing to foreshadowing, everything goes black. And
Pay
then
attention,
And then
Linda.
it says 2008, and then you see the beginning. So I'm not going to spoil anything from there on. The game itself is brutal because it is post-apocalyptic, but it shows the beginning. It shows it happening. So you see that in the show.
Yeah.
The guy that directed the game, Neil Druckmann, remember that name. This guy is going to be to video game movies what Steven Spielberg is to movies.
Okay.
This is the one, a lot of people are saying this is the most amazing video game adaptation onto screen. And I agree.
More than Ready Player One.
Yes.
Okay.
He does an excellent, well, that's more of what's that called? Pop culture fest.
Okay.
So this is actually taking a video game story and making it into a movie. So when I played through it, it's about 30 to 40 hours long, the way I did. It's probably about a 20-hour, but I suck. It feels like you're playing a movie. So what they did, the Neil Druckmann being part of the production crew, actually they have Stump's asking, can you kill the fungus with tough actin tenactin? That's in a bonus. That's in a deleted scene.
Nice.
Guy running around spraying.
Nice.
Now there's a real prevent defense. Like boom, tough actin tenactin. Nothing's proven to beat athlete's foot better than tenactin. It's so tough it actually prevents athlete's foot. Lamisil can't say that? No way. Get the facts. Get boom, tough actin tenactin.
There are scenes in the show that are shot for shot exactly like the game. They've put them side by side. People have gone crazy on this. Pedro Pascal plays Joel.
Yeah.
Who in the game is, a very gruff dude. He does a little bit of killing throughout the series in the game. I know he'll go through the series. He plays him perfectly, just like the game. This is so people who don't know who Pedro Pascal is. He's the Mandalorian when he takes his helmet off. Yes.
Who plays Andor?
I don't know. It's some guy.
Is it?
He was in Dirty Dancing sequel.
Oh.
Yeah, Cuban Nights or something like that.
I keep meaning to see that.
We watched it. I don't know if I recommend it.
You watched Cuban Nights?
Yeah.
Okay. I digress. I'm not going to veer off into.
I didn't sit down here by myself and watch Cuban.
Right.
Remember I talked about Bessie movies and Mike movies?
Uh-huh.
That was in the Bessie movie category. We watched Cuban Nights.
Okay.
I'm not embarrassed at all. Anyway, so Bess was with me while we were watching The Last of Us, and she was excited. She is excited for the next episode. It's exceptionally well done. They've already said that it's been greenlit for season 2 and season 3. And that season 2 will follow the events of the second game. And I'm here to tell you, the second game is, if they do the series like they do the game, it will be the most brutal thing you've ever seen on TV. It'll blow away Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. It's brutal.
Okay.
So, not that that's a selling point, but it goes there.
Some people are into that.
It goes there.
Yeah.
So, a little bit of a side, personal note. I've talked before about how I can't stand The Walking Dead. Part of it is because of Carol. In my mind, they've been on the train tracks now for 8 years.
Yeah.
This game, the first one when it came out, is part of the reason for that. Because I thought the story was so much better in that it was hard to go back to The Walking Dead. It's hard to go back to, we're going to a farmhouse. Oh, somebody's infected. Oh, Uncle Remus or Uncle Jonah or whatever his name is, the guy.
Herschel.
Uncle Herschel died.
Yeah. Wait, what? Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get into it.
I still haven't gotten over that, by the way.
So, I've
8 years later.
I've bitched about it on this podcast. I'll bitch about it again. The original creators of The Walking Dead said they would never reveal where the virus came from. It would never end.
Right.
All that stuff. This one, you see right at the beginning of the show where the virus came from,
right,
or where the thing came from. And it has a goal. When they get to this goal, the story is over. And it will be over when they get there. Okay. There's a second game, but that main story will be done. There is a goal that will or will not be attained.
So they answered the question, hey, what happened?
They do.
Yeah.
The question is asked at the very beginning of the first episode. It says, and I quote, "What happened?" And
hey, what happened?
The answer to that question is at the end.
Okay.
So please, everyone out there, I'm here to tell you, I've played through the story. I know how the story ends. You do not want the end of this spoiled. If you have the means, watch this show now while you don't know what the big deal is. I'm going to spoil another show to tell you how intense this spoiler is.
Okay.
For someone who's watching Breaking Bad for the first time now, stop listening to this podcast, go finish Breaking Bad. Welcome back. When you saw who Gus was, that holy Lord, that moment.
Gus Fring. Yeah.
Gus Fring.
Yeah.
That spoiler. People starting to watch Breaking Bad now know he's the villain. You'll come to the show thinking, it's the Gus Fring guy. That's
Right.
the villain.
Right.
It doesn't mean as much as when you're sitting there for the first time watching it, and you're like, oh my God, Gus, that's the main dude. Holy Lord.
So Gus is in.
Gus is not in The Last of Us.
What's
what
that
I'm
got?
saying.
What are you?
I'm saying that it's a. You're gonna have fun editing this one.
And so Sesame Street.
So no.
Yeah,
I'm saying the level of spoiler. If anyone coming to Breaking Bad now, you get that Gus is a villain walking into it. I know people now who haven't watched Breaking Bad that know Gus is a villain, who know who he is. Giancarlo Esposito know that he's a villain because it's been out for so long and it was such a big deal.
And because of Better Call Saul.
And Better Call Saul, and because of memes on Facebook.
That's
and
why
all
you
this
shouldn't
stuff.
watch the Star Wars prequels before you watch episode 4, 5, and 6.
Right, you find out
You
that
know who
Yoda
Yoda is.
Yeah, Yoda quits becoming a puppet. He becomes a real boy.
Yeah.
After getting swallowed by the whale with Geppetto.
Yeah.
And Tinkerbell. Anyway, the point is...
The 6 viewers we have, you're losing them.
The
Mike.
point is...
Get to it.
The point is, watch it now while it's still not spoiled.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, 2 quick things. Breaking Bad. Walter and Jesse have a bronze statue in the convention center in New Mexico, which I think is badass. Okay, and you look at towns that have had statues like this. I think Chicago has.
Is it in Albuquerque?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
I don't quote me on
It
that.
better be.
Yeah, Chicago has Bob Newhart.
Okay. Philadelphia has Rocky.
Yes, Mary Tyler Moore is in wherever Mary
Boise,
Tyler Moore
Idaho.
Boise, Idaho.
RoboCop.
No, the Andy Griffith Show has
Opie.
Opie and Andy.
In Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
and so that's in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
And so they did all these for classic shows. The statue of Fonzie is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right? So, which is all really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
But to think that they did a Breaking Bad, that's awesome. And they were on James.
What are they
Corden.
doing? What are the statues doing?
They're just standing there looking badass.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Walt's got his hat in his hand, and Jesse's looking like, "What are you looking at, bitch?" And it's great. It's great. Okay.
So do they have problems with people putting a bag of Funyuns in? Because that's what I'm doing. If I ever see it, I'm giving him some Funyuns.
Well, Bryan Cranston was on a show, and he said that he was so happy that they had it indoors so that it doesn't get pigeon all over it, which is really, really cool. You were talking about Brutal.
Yes.
We started watching 1923 on Paramount. Okay. It's I'd never watched Yellowstone with Kevin Costner, but I've heard over and over and over and over again how great Yellowstone is.
Yeah.
And eventually I'm going to get to it. But then they made 1923, which is a prequel starring Harrison Ford. And I'm like, okay.
You literally just need to say starring Harrison Ford at this
I'm
point
in.
with anything.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I thought it would be a Western, which it is a Western.
Uh-huh.
Is it brutal? Oh my God.
Really?
And it's not even brutal in places where you think it's going to be brutal. And that's where I can't spoil this for you.
Oh.
I mean, there's 4 episodes.
Okay.
And the last episode, Libby and I were watching going, ooh.
Well, let me ask you this. Before you go forward. You haven't watched Yellowstone. You're starting with 1923.
I'm starting with 1923.
Can I start with Yellowstone and go back to 1923?
I guess so.
Is that advisable?
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it to.
You know what we should do? You keep doing your thing.
Okay.
And then I'll start with Yellowstone and I'll do my thing.
And then we'll see if
we'll
they,
talk about it. And then we'll see who enjoyed it more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll live stream that on, we're already live streaming on St. Patrick's Day on Valentine's Day.
You know what that would be? It would just be us sitting there going,
Yeah, I didn't see that. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Irritable Dad Syndrome is sponsored by Whoppers Beefy Mac and Cheese and listeners like you. Thank you.
Last week, Mike and I went to see Louis C.K.
Louis Celsius Kelvin.
Yeah, and Louis C.K. was in Louisville.
I didn't even. Oh wow! I didn't even.
Yeah,
get,
you didn't put two and two together, did
We
you?
saw him at the glorious Louisville Palace.
Yeah.
And that was a nice place.
It's a great theater.
I need to put those pictures up on our Instagram or
Yeah.
whatever for the
Yeah.
4 people who care. But they looked really cool in there.
Yeah.
Really good.
And Louis C.K. has a sordid past.
Yes.
A few years ago, he
Yeah.
had an incident,
Yes.
and
He's been known to ask certain questions that should not be asked.
Well, he would ask people to watch him do certain things.
and then they would say, "Yes, do that thing."
Yeah, and
then
he
would do that thing, and
Yeah.
then they thought I should not have asked him,
Yeah.
or I should not have allowed him to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But he's still one of my, I've told you before, my favorite comedians are right now living. Louis C.K. is in that group. Bill Burr,
right.
Tom Segura,
Yeah.
just a bunch of them. So the opportunity to see Louis came up. I think I told you going there, I was like, if there's T-shirts, I'm totally not buying it. Where do you wear a Louis C.K. T-shirt?
Hey, isn't he that guy that
Yeah.
did the thing?
Yeah,
and
you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing was, for a guy who they tried really hard to cancel Louis,
Yeah.
and despite everything, you'd think on paper, in theory, he would have been canceled.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
he wasn't canceled.
He's
And his show was sold out.
Yeah, sold
Okay.
out. I mean, he's moved everything to his website. All
Yeah.
of his shows,
Yeah.
you can't find them anywhere, but they're on his website.
Mhm.
And yeah, you're right. It was sold out. I was surprised that it was sold out.
Yeah. He was hysterically funny
Yeah.
in places. There were places where I will say, "Ooh,
Yeah. I was a little-
I'm laughing. I should be. Yeah,
So
I don't know. I can laugh at that. I'm going to go to hell. Yeah.
So I've kind of put this down in my head. I'm glad that I saw him. Like you said, there were some places that were difficult.
Yes.
Where I felt like there was more him trying to be offensive than actually funny.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of my favorite comedian of all time, George Carlin.
Yes.
Towards the end of his career, his last few shows, I always loved his social commentary. I
did
thought he
too.
had just brilliant commentary.
Yeah.
But if you watch one or two of his last specials, there are some hysterical moments in there.
Yeah.
But for a long time, it's like, okay, this is not comedy. It's good, but it's not comedy.
Yeah.
And then there were moments in the Louis C.K. show where I'm like, yeah, I mean, I see why you said what you said, but
Right.
maybe, so early in his career, he would say things just to get an audience. And he said, I'm saying this for me. It's not for you. I don't care if you think it's funny or not. And
Right.
I thought that was funny.
Right.
But it seemed that there was a bit more of that than there needed to be. I think he's genuinely a funny person.
Yeah.
So without getting too psychoanalytical on him, because I don't know the dude,
Right.
but I think maybe what he kind of put himself through,
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw that out there. He kind of did it to himself,
Literally.
literally.
He did.
I think that had an effect.
Yeah.
And I think kind of we saw the effect of that. I don't think that's the same Louis we would have seen if we went there like 10 years ago.
Well, my take on it is that for a guy who was almost a damn near canceled, he sure as hell was trying to get canceled in Louisville. The Bible Belt.
Oh. Yeah, there's a part of his
Yeah.
show where he brings out a prop
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
Bible Belt, which
Yes.
the Bible.
Bible. Yeah.
He doesn't hold any punches.
No.
And even in that bit, there were parts that were genuinely funny, like
Yeah.
hilarious. And
Yeah.
there's other parts that's like, okay, all right, man.
Wow. Any minute now, he's going to get hit by something.
Yeah.
Lightning. Here's an aside. But Mike and I, we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah, about
And-
2 or 3 months.
Yeah. And we're driving down to Louisville. And I was thinking, I'm like, Mike, I've been friends with you for a long time, and I have no idea what you do at your job.
Yeah.
And so we went to Taco Bell, and Mike started describing what he does at his job.
As best I can.
As best you possibly can.
Because I'm not really entirely sure.
And
Yeah.
I hope you never thought that I just didn't care, but I was like, I don't know.
Bess has asked me
Right.
our entire.
She has no idea what you do. All she knows is you go to work and then you come home.
Well, I mean,
You put your briefcase down.
There's been company events where she's gone up to the other people like, "What does he do?" And they're like,
Right.
"Who is that?
Yeah.
Who are you?"
Right.
So,
So Mike described to me what he does at his job. And then when we were at the Louis show, before the show started, Mike leans over to me and goes, "So, Darren, what do you do?" And I work for Antenna TV.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a producer, and I write promos and I edit promos for classic television shows that air on Antenna TV, and I also edit stuff that airs on a network called Rewind TV. Okay, I used to work at a NBC station here in Cincinnati. I did that for like 12 years, and just last January I took this job and Antenna TV. So I'm describing to you this promo that we're working on for Designing Women.
Yeah.
That's going to air on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. On Antenna TV. And while I'm describing this to you, this guy sitting in front of us,
Yeah.
I would describe him as kind of burly.
Yeah.
Not someone,
Yeah.
who he didn't look like a biker. But he turns around while you and I are having this conversation. He says, how come you don't run the Golden Girls? I looked at him and said, well, we don't run the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing a Designing Women marathon. But he's not the type of person who would watch the Golden Girls.
Well, now that's not fair.
Well, he doesn't look like their demographic.
Okay.
And it just really surprised me.
He seemed more like the Ren and Stimpy type. Is what you're
Exactly.
It's like my crowd.
I know. But, did I say, hey, buddy, stop eavesdropping on this conversation?
Yeah.
I mean, we're literally like 2 inches behind him.
Yeah.
Our chairs are so packed, so how could he not hear us?
Mm-hmm.
But still, he just did not look like a Golden Girls fan.
He's actually in the audience.
He's in the audience tonight. Nice guy.
Yeah.
He
nice
and
guy.
his girlfriend or fiance, or I hope that they were girlfriend or fiance, because
Yeah.
get a room.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's his wife.
Yeah.
It was his wife.
So something that we've talked about before on this show is I am terrible at promoting this podcast.
Yeah.
I will be wearing clothing
Yeah, I was
of the podcast,
very
and
proud of
someone
you.
will
Yeah.
walk up to me and say, "What is Irritable Dad syndrome?" And I'll just be like, "Get away from me!" And I'll run screaming.
Can't take
And
it
you're like,
away
you
from-
just need to tell them what it is.
Yeah.
And I had actually brought cards.
Uh-huh.
And I had a card
Yeah.
ready for this man. I was like, he said, "Tell me about your podcast." And
Here you go.
I couldn't run anywhere. I couldn't leave. I'm
No.
like right there. Where am I going to go?
Yeah.
I was like, well, here's a card. And he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
So Kevin and Jamie,
Yes.
welcome to Irritable Dad
Welcome
Syndrome.
to Irritable Dad Syndrome. Hope you enjoy your stay.
This portion of our show is brought to you by the Fiat 500X. Back in the day, Fiat meant fix it again, Tony. But now, with advanced technology, your head gaskets will blow even sooner. Plus, they actually rust in the showrooms. That's the Fiat 500X. Now, back to the show.
I mentioned that we stopped at Taco Bell. So, after 2 weeks ago, Mike talked for 25 minutes about using the bathroom. We got to Taco Bell, and both of us needed to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
And the men's bathroom is locked.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was locked, but
For
it was
a very long time.
It was locked, and we waited and waited and waited, and I could see the urgency on your face.
Well, yeah.
And I said, "Why don't you use the women's restroom?"
And I said, "Good Lord, no."
And then you ran right in.
Yeah.
So we knocked on the door. Nobody occupied. Nothing. So Mike went in and used the women's restroom while I kind of kept guard.
I lifted the seat.
Yes. Thank you. There was nobody else in the restaurant.
No.
Nobody.
No.
So Mike uses the women's restroom, and then he comes out. I went to use the bathroom.
Yeah, and
the men's bathroom is still locked.
Still locked. Somebody in there is clearly having a moment like I had after my surgery.
Well, they work at Taco Bell,
exactly.
so what do you expect?
Yeah. And I promised you that I would watch to make sure nobody went back there.
Right. And did
and
you?
then you went in. Yeah. Well, I wanted to fill my Pepsi cup. And there was nobody in there.
Yeah.
There was nobody in the. No. So as I'm filling the Pepsi cup, at least 20 to 30% of the time that I'm filling the cup, I'm looking over my shoulder at the door to
You can't see the door from where the Pepsi cup is.
I could turn my head and see.
You can't look around corners, though.
That's why I said 20 to 30%. My point is, when I had the Pepsi cup filled, I turned around, and this woman came from the direction of the bathrooms. And I thought, that's hilarious.
Well,
That's hilarious.
so, I'm not familiar with women's restrooms.
Okay.
I've been in a few.
Yeah.
When I worked at Winn-Dixie back in high school in my early days of college, I used to clean the women's restroom. It was one
Okay.
of the jobs I had.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go into the women's restroom, and there are two stalls, one on the right, one on the left, and
Okay.
then there's a sink.
Yeah.
So
Just pee in the sink.
I did not pee in the sink.
Okay.
I go in and I closed the door,
Uh-huh.
and I'm using the bathroom. While I'm using the bathroom, I heard the door open, the main door.
Oh boy.
Well,
You're about to appear on the news.
here we go. All you got to do is look under the door, and you can see two pair of feet.
Yeah.
Or 2 feet. I don't have 4
Yes.
feet. 2 feet standing.
Yeah. There's
Women
either
don't stand when they use the bathroom.
right, unless
Yeah.
they're a marksman. She knew what she was dealing with.
Anyway,
And that,
I was like,
that
well-
explains the little smile when she came out and she's
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, there's the other fat bald guy getting a Pepsi."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
guess who's in there? And then you weren't angry. I expected you to be blood red.
You know what?
You were smiling like, yeah, it's
it is
going to
what
be
it
on the
is.
show. It's going to be on the show.
Well, I was walking out waiting on somebody to say, "Sir, you can't be in the
Yeah.
women's restroom."
Yeah.
And nobody called me out on that. So, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we were in a situation where nobody really wanted to talk about what had just happened.
Right.
We were the only patrons in there.
Yeah.
And she was the only cashier there. That's not a conversation
I'll just
you
take
want
my
to start.
$2.17 and go somewhere else.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a clean bathroom.
It was.
Yeah, very
it
clean.
was.
Yeah.
Before I went in there, it
Yeah.
was.
Do you like Cinnamon Toast Crunch? It's a
Okay.
yes or no question.
I have to be careful around Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Okay.
Because I will see it. I
Uh-huh.
will enjoy it.
Mhm.
I will get a bowl.
Mhm.
And if I get a bowl of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, the box is gone. Within an hour, the
Yeah.
box is gone.
Yeah.
So I stay away from it. The kids eat the entire box. I don't eat any of it because I can't.
It is a powerful cereal. Indeed.
is.
It's delicious. It's delectable.
It's like Golden Grams on crack.
Crack cocaine. Yeah. Well, I'm telling you right now, it's tearing our family apart.
Yeah.
Because my boys, and this is one of the reasons why the show is called Irritable Dad Syndrome.
Yes.
You and I were talking about this before the show. It's like, you know what? We don't talk a lot about why we're irritable dads.
Right.
Basically, it's like you and I are. I think that you and I use our humor to find joy in life's most irritable moments.
We'd be serial killers otherwise.
Yeah.
You'd be helping me find bodies, and I'd be helping you
Yeah. Also hide bodies.
also hide bodies. Yeah.
The Cinnamon Toast Crunch, my boys will eat it, but they don't rinse out the bowl. Okay. And if you don't rinse out the bowl, that cinnamon gets ingrained in the bowl.
Okay.
And then it doesn't wash out.
Oh,
Yeah.
you need a new dishwasher.
No, I need kids who will rinse out their bowls.
Yeah. I don't even have kids that empty the bowls. I have kids that drop full bowls of. I have had multiple times full bowls of soggy frosted mini wheats. And I swear, I think it's because a kid thought they were getting Cinnamon Toast Crunch, filled that up because they were watching a game on their iPad,
They just
poured milk, and was like, "What the hell is this?" and threw the whole thing in the sink. Because I come across, it's like discovering a dead body. It's like, what the hell is this? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. And the thing that bothers me about the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, one of the things is all the box sizes, because I think they know. Is it General Mills? I think they know that
is.
that's like their most popular cereal.
Yeah.
So you have the normal size, which like comes in a CD case at this point. Like large, then family size, then giant, then
Yeah.
like the huge, all these different sizes.
Well-
and we get the huge one that could like the size of that dehumidifier.
Yeah.
We bring it in here, and within a day, it's gone.
Yeah. Well, I bought a box and I brought it home and I told the kids, I was like, and we don't talk about politics on this show.
No.
We never discuss politics
At all.
or serious issues.
Exactly.
Because why piss off half our audience?
Indeed.
But I told the family, it's like, I'm really surprised that Cinnamon Toast Crunch, General Mills, threw their hat into politics and got involved and chose a side. And they said, what are you talking about? I was like, well, it's the MAGA box.
Okay.
It's the MAGA box. And they're like, Dad, that's not MAGA, that's mega. And I'm like, mega? It's MEGA and not MAGA.
Yeah. You have my permission to put a drum thing on there.
I'm going to put a...
that might be worth a whoppum.
Hey, what happened?
Last week on our show, Kevin Rupert, a fantastic guest.
Yes.
Yeah. And, we were about to wrap up the show. We were almost at an hour.
Yeah.
We were about to wrap things up, and I was just getting ready to thank Kevin for coming. And Kevin said, Darren, did you say you have a rabbit? I said, yeah. And then we talked about the rabbit a little bit. And then he talked about his pet that he used to have, the sugar gliders that would get under his nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this
you
has
held
never
that story in the entire hour.
Yeah.
And just at the very end when we're leaving, by the way, marsupials juggle my nuts.
Yeah, talk about burying the lead. Like, we should have. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to save Hotel California till the end. Okay, till the very end. But a hilarious story.
Yeah.
And I got a text today from Craig Hole, who's one of our patrons. He used to have sugar gliders.
Did they juggle his nuts?
No.
Okay.
Well, if they did, he didn't talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was talking about how they're just like really persnickety, really fussy pets. They're like a bitch to take care of.
Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
bitch, to take care of persnickety. I need to pull out my Farmer's Almanac from 1842. Find out what the hell that means.
Well, this is our 126th episode.
Okay, yeah.
We talk about sugar gliders, and then, hey, I used to have a sugar glider. Okay. So if you've had a sugar glider, you can join the Sugar Glider support group here on Irritable Dad Syndrome. Also, last week, we asked the question, which radioactive song do you like the best? Was it The Firm? Was it Imagine Dragons? Or was it Gene Simmons, the lead singer of Kiss, from his solo album?
Radioactive. Is that how you, okay.
The Firm.
Okay.
Group,
I saw that. I saw a bunch of notes a bunch of votes for
by
the
a
Firm.
landslide. Yeah. The Firm was picked as the best radioactive song. So congratulations to Paul Rogers and Jimmy Page.
Yeah, and so we asked a question like, what other bands? Because we noticed we talk about music a lot.
We do.
We're not a music podcast.
No, but we easily could be.
Yeah, but we bring it up a lot. So I was like, well, who do you guys want us to talk about? And we got more responses to that than anything we've done. Like, what okay.
Yeah, Steve Farrell wanted us to talk about Hank Williams Sr. Of all,
Yeah, Junior, Bo Cephas gets all the press.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Senior's the dude with the shirt.
Dude,
and the
Hank Williams
hat.
Sr. was one of he and Bill Monroe were both inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame early on as early influences.
Yeah.
And Hank Williams Sr. was badass.
Yeah.
I mean, he lived hard.
Yeah.
He lived the life of Bon Scott long before. If you've never taken the time to listen to the music catalog that is Hank Williams
Senior,
you absolutely well, he didn't go by Hank Williams
just went by
Sr.
Hank Williams.
He was just Hank
Yeah.
Williams.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember one of the greatest memories of my dad was I was trying to find a Christmas present for him. And I was out at the mall or someplace. Anyway, I found this double CD set, the best of Hank Williams.
Okay.
You would have thought I'd given my dad a check for $1 million. He lost his mind. He was so excited with that, and he listened to that thing start to finish, back and forth, up and down, inside and out, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And it loved every second of it.
That's awesome.
And so if you go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio, there's some, I think his hat is still in there.
Okay.
There's
the red shirt, I think. Did he have a red shirt, or was that Pee-wee?
I don't remember a red shirt, but I think his hat and an acoustic guitar were there.
Okay.
But man, Hank Williams was absolutely amazing. Okay. I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson said was what he believed was the greatest country music song ever written.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
go. Yeah.
So there, Hank Williams Sr.
Yeah.
Somebody else that was mentioned, Ed Jones said that he would love for us to talk about the Eagles.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the Eagles
we've
other
talked
than
about the Eagles,
Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Coincidentally, today is January 18th, the day that we're recording this podcast. On 2016, on this day, was the day Glenn Fry passed away. So the Eagles started out as Glenn Fry and Don Henley. With Tim Schmidt came later, Joe Walsh came later, and Don Felder was the big five that held the group for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
But I went to see the Hell Freezes Over tour with those guys.
Did you really?
Oh my God. Every song was perfection. Okay, some bands are great in the studio and not so much live. God, their songs were just as good live as you could have ever imagined them in the studio.
Yeah.
So, but the Eagles were amazing, and I
Yeah.
absolutely loved them.
So yeah, we need to do like a band feature thing because we talked about doing that. So we'll do some of these. So one of the bands that was mentioned, Amy Hurst mentioned Oasis, which I lost my mind because I'm a huge Oasis fan, and specifically Noel Gallagher. I'm a Noel Gallagher fan. And then I posted, if you guys follow us on Facebook and the Instagram and the Tweeter, I sent out the most illegal photo I've ever taken in my life, and it has Noel Gallagher in it. It's a picture of Noel Gallagher, and I promised I would tell the story behind this photo.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough a few years ago to be in Manchester, England, and it was while Phil Collins was there. I knew I was going to be there while he was on tour, so I got a ticket. So I saw Phil Collins in Manchester. So this is in the Manchester Arena or whatever it's called. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
And I'm in there, and as a huge Oasis fan, I see this. I don't know if you can tell the size scale from the picture, but in reality, this thing was maybe 20 or 30 feet long and maybe 10 to 15 feet wide. Noel Gallagher tapestry thing. I was like, holy crap. So I aim my phone up, click, and, while I'm in line waiting to go into the actual arena part, and, I hear, sir. English, I can't do an English thing or whatever.
Right.
So
An English
he comes up and he's like, delete that photo right now. I was like, what? I just took a picture. I said, I just took a picture of Noel.
Come on, mate.
Yeah. He's like, delete it right now. Delete it or you're ejected from the facility. I was like, okay. All right. So I go and I show him and I do the thing, little trash can. I was like, there, it's gone. He's like, no photos out here. I was like, can I take photos inside where Phil Collins is? He's like, it's fine. That's what the guy behind, almost exactly what the guy behind me said.
Doesn't make any
That's
sense.
dumb, mate. And I'm
Mike?
like, I looked around. I was like, yeah. He's like, so
What
you can take
what a wanker.
So he's like, you can go in there and you can take pictures all around. And Phil Collins, whatever. You come out here, you take a picture of Noel Gallagher standing on the thing, and it's what that's dumb. That whole thing.
Yeah.
And so that's our conversation I'm having with the guy behind me. And then the lady in front of me, she got involved in it. That's what we're talking about the whole way through.
Yeah.
The fun part of that whole conversation is during that whole exchange, you're like, Mike, how do you have the picture if he made you delete it?
Right.
Well, I have Google Photos automatically backs up anything I take on my phone.
Yes.
So it wasn't until I got back to the hotel that night, I'm looking at Google Photos like, there's Noel, and like, yes.
That's a stupid reason. He didn't even give you a reason. That's
the
stupid.
reason. Well, I told you I was talking to that's stupid. And
what the hell did he tell you to do that thing? So Edith Bunker was
Edith
there.
Bunker.
Oh, jeez, you should have been able to do it.
We came to the conclusion that maybe they don't allow people taking pictures of like the structure or whatever, because it was up in the rafters. Maybe it was like a potential terrorist thing, like I'm mapping out the place to bomb it, and I'm going to put the bomb behind Noel.
Okay.
The point is, I think it's an awesome picture, and I'm glad I got the picture, and that guy can suck it.
Yeah. Years ago, after the Cincinnati Reds opening day parade, I had shot footage for the parade, and I was standing there, and I was waiting on a car to come and get me. They dropped people off, and then they were coming picking them up as they were done. So I'm waiting on a car to come get me from the station, and I look over, and there is Bootsy Collins from Parliament Funkadelic. I'm like, oh my God. And I grabbed my camera, my batteries, everything, and I'm running across the street. I'm hobbling across the street, really carrying all this gear. I'm like, Bootzilla. And he goes, hello, baby, And he could not have been nicer. And I said, can I please get a picture with you? Absolutely. And his daughter took, oh my gosh, she framed the picture absolutely perfectly. And it was great. And I was so excited. And then my phone died. Like shortly, like it was at 4 or 5% when I got the picture.
But you had the picture on there.
I had the picture on there.
Yeah.
And I texted my friends. I'm like, I just met Bootsy. And they're like, no, you didn't. And my phone dies. Okay. I took the battery out of the phone and put it back in. And my phone came back.
Yeah.
The picture was gone.
What?
Gone. It was gone. It was not there. And I was like, no. And I was so pissed.
Is it really gone?
I went to the TV station. Like, this is called a story, Mike.
I'm in rapture.
It has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, we're gonna get there.
I get back to
we're
the
in
station.
Third act now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get back to the station. I plug the phone in. I have a charger in my office.
Yeah.
I charged it up, and when the phone came back on, it was there. And I instantly took it, and I didn't have Google Maps or Google Cloud
Google,
or whatever.
I'm gonna look at
and
what
I
you're doing.
instantly texted it to myself so that I would have it in my text, and then I Facebooked it, and then I emailed it to somebody.
Traced it, drew a picture of it.
Took a picture of my phone. Yeah. So, and then my friend Eric Cross, who's the coolest person who's ever walked the planet. You've actually met him.
Have I?
Yeah. He's the guy with the dreadlocks.
Oh, yeah. That dude is pretty cool.
Yeah. He's awesome. He is in a band.
Okay.
And he knows the bass player for Bootsy. Okay. And he says, I can get you that autograph. Son of a bitch. So Bootsy autographed that picture.
Oh,
I've got it framed on my office desk. Yeah, I know. But I was so afraid I'd lost that picture.
This portion of Irritable Dad Syndrome is brought to you by the Rubik's Cube. Hi, I'm Dave Lay, and I'm telling you right now, chicks love a guy who can solve the Rubik's Cube. Available wherever cube-shaped puzzles and toys are sold. Now, back to the show.
One of the greatest TV shows of all time is coming back. Okay. I got a text from my son, Jacob. And it said, Dad, all caps, 3 exclamation points. And then he sends me another text, Dad, 3 exclamation points.
So now you're thinking, what well is he
and then
in?
a third text, Dad.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even give me time to respond.
Yeah.
And I thought he's
been kidnapped.
He's wrecked his car.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought he has wrecked his car. There's a fire. There's something. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? And his text was, Phineas and Ferb are coming back for 2 seasons. And I'm like, okay, that calls for excitement.
Yeah.
We'll build the best dang car wash in the whole dang world. Dang it. I can't really pull that off, can I?
You're not very street.
Phineas and Ferb, in my honest opinion, is not only one of the greatest cartoons ever.
Okay.
I think it's one of the best TV series ever.
Okay.
Okay, and you've never watched it.
No.
I know you haven't.
No.
Andrew Gibbons, when we first started the show, he thought that the whole show would be about Phineas and Ferb. It's fantastic. It's coming back for 2 seasons.
Okay.
40 episodes.
Whoa.
Okay. I cannot wait. I'm waiting with bated breath, as they say.
I saw Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah.
Like the people, like they were at Universal. Is it not Universal? One of those theme parks. I saw Phineas and Ferb walking around.
They would have been at Disney.
Yeah, Disney.
They're Disney characters.
Disney.
Yeah.
MGM or whatever. Kermit was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was.
Hello.
Yeah. What?
Hey, where's Perry?
Anyway, I did see Phineas and Ferb walking around. But that's it. Yeah.
But another thing about my son Jacob is I could sneeze and he'll say, "Is that going to be on the podcast?" It's like everything I do at the house. Either Jacob asks, "Is that going to be on the podcast?" Cameron will ask, "Is that going to be on the podcast?"
Yeah.
And then tonight, Libby was complaining about the potato chips that she bought.
Yeah.
And she only likes the white potato chips. And I said, "Well, that's racist. You can't say that." She was talking about the ones that get brown, that get burned.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like those.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Is that going to be on the podcast?" I'm like, "Well, actually, that is going to be on the podcast."
Yeah, anything bad that happens. I mean, when I took the heard around the world, there's one of the first questions. I think the first question was, "Are you okay?" And then the second question was, "Are you going to talk about that on the podcast?"
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
Can I do one more thing before we wrap this episode?
You do whatever
up?
the hell
Okay.
you want. This is our jam, man. You do what you want.
It's a just stop.
Okay, just stop it then.
Okay, this is a just stop.
Okay.
And I've mentioned this before.
Yeah.
But I have to repeat it because more time has passed.
Yeah.
And the longer time passes, the less this activity makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay, there are still people who wear masks out in public.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
What you do, you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're, the whole year and a half or however long we were required to wear masks, I didn't even get a cold.
Yeah,
I mean, just saying.
Some people have bought fancy masks.
Yes.
I bought 2 fancy masks.
Mhm.
One of my masks is the Walter Sobchak quote,
Mhm.
"I'm calmer than you are,"
Yeah.
which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
And I have a Tool mask.
Yeah.
And I got that maybe 2 weeks before everybody quit wearing masks. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So absolutely, if you want to wear a mask, absolutely wear a mask.
Do your thing.
I never fought it
Yeah.
when they made it a requirement. I said, okay, I have to wear a mask to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I wore a mask to the grocery store. I had to wear it to work. I wore it to work.
It made me a better toothbrusher.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, that being said,
Uh-huh.
there are still people who wear the mask with their nose hanging out.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make any sense.
No.
And they're wearing it in places where you're not required to wear
No,
it.
It's like wearing underwear with your hanging out. It's like
Exactly.
you're not doing this right.
Right. But no, I saw some people at the Louis C.K. show
Yeah.
wearing a mask with their nose hanging out. Actually, this one dude, this idiot with his top lip hanging out of it. Like, why are you wearing a mask if your nose and your mouth is hanging out of it?
You know what?
It's like it doesn't make any sense.
Part of me-
Just stop.
Part of me wants there to be a condition that they're using the mask for in that configuration that's only for that condition. And those people are like, okay, will you stop giving me about this is how I'm supposed to wear the mask? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand some people have bad noses.
Okay. Yeah.
They may not have a nose that has enough.
That's mask friendly.
Yeah, that's not mask friendly. Maybe
Right.
the slope is not right.
Mm-hmm.
I have a large and pointy. I have a triangle-y nose. I
Uh-huh.
know that. I've dealt with that in my life.
Okay.
Masks stick to this mofo. I never, the whole thing where you have to pinch, I never had to deal with any of that.
Mhm.
This thing will grab a mask and hold on.
Yeah.
This nose was made for COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. But I have people, and it's people that I grew up with, people that I know. I'm friends with people on Facebook.
Mhm.
Don't ask me who it is, friends on Facebook. I will not tell you.
Yep.
But some y'all have noses that couldn't hold a mask if your life depended on it.
Yeah.
And those people I feel for.
Yeah.
Because they probably walked around with the mask and the top lip, and there's nothing they could do about it.
Yeah.
The people that we saw at the Louis Celsius Kelvin show,
Mm-hmm.
they had noses that could handle a mask.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're gonna wear it or not, you're either wearing it or you're not.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. No, it's like you go to the like when I take my kids to a doctor appointment, we still have to wear the masks in the lobby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to the Louis C.K. show, it's not a requirement
Right.
to wear it.
Yeah.
So why are you wearing it with your nose out? It makes no sense. It blows my mind.
Yeah, because they may have a personal. You would think the people wearing the mask to the Louis show would be wearing it because of their own personal requirements.
Yes.
So they would be more apt to wear the thing properly.
Thing.
I don't know why I'm shying away from saying it at this point.
Yeah.
To wear the thing the right way.
Yeah.
You're doing
it wrong. Just doesn't make any sense.
When you jump out of a plane with a parachute, you pull the ripcord and you open it. You don't just splat on the ground saying,
Right.
well, there.
I don't believe in cords.
Yeah, I don't believe
That's against my constitutional right.
That's right. I'm cordless.
Going cordless.
Go cordless.
That was funny when Louis talked about, I can't go through the reasons when it's wrong to kill somebody on this podcast, but the reason when it's okay to kill somebody is when you got like the 96-year-old guy who's got cancer, COVID, AIDS. All three.
He's just he's like, you go to prison for maybe 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yeah. Well, we're going to wrap this up. This has been episode 126. We want to thank you so much. Go to irritabledadcenter.com. Listen to previous episodes. Go to Patreon, and you can donate money to this show, and you can help us keep this thing afloat. And you know what? I want to thank we've been getting a lot of new listeners here lately.
Yeah, thank you for the new listeners.
It's
and
awesome.
if you are new, we know we have at least one new listener right now.
Yes.
We do edit this thing.
Thank you to our friend in Louisville.
Yeah, we edit this and produce it. So if you listen to our episodes, it's not just, we don't just press record and this thing goes.
Yeah.
There's music, there's stuff going on, there's gymnastics.
Yeah, we doll it up with fireworks and
Fire,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm. So, yeah, and follow us, subscribe. When we do this thing, we'll send you a notification that it's going to happen.
You got to follow us. You get a notification that we're coming live.
That's what she said.
You get a notification that we're going live.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to join in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, and we hope to see you next week on Irritable Dad Syndrome.
All right, here's the close. Can't think of a close, so if you want to make something... Oh, God.
This debacle has been the Irritable Dad Syndrome. Thanks for listening.
And I'm going to spoil... Jesus Lord.
That wasn't me. I just can't. No, I can't go through the reason when it's... Wait a minute. Take two. I and my kids... That's not grammatically correct.
To Indiana Jones.
Yellowstone. Yellowstone.
Yes.
Not Yellow Jacket. He diz.
Breh. It just came out.
I do that. I say breh at the house, and it drives the kids crazy. Dad, stop.
If there's horses, I never fall asleep when we're talking about horses. It's not advised.
To talk about horses?
Not advised to fall asleep when someone's mentioning. Someone starts talking about horses.
There are all kinds of horses
listen
in
to
this show.
everything that they say.
It's like horse palooza.
Chris Hughes says it sounds much better with the light off. Chris Hughes.
Thank you, Chris.
Yay! Please edit me out going, yay! That's a good show.
Yay, I can take two of my friends.
There you go. That's solid entertainment.